We've got some relationship drama. First story. I am planning to Irish goodbye my boyfriend. We live in his house. If you don't know what Irish goodbye means, basically it means like when you leave without saying goodbye. I have absolutely Irish goodbyed at certain parties and events where I'm like, I'ma just sneak out the back. See you later, you know?
See you, pals.
I'm very intrigued to see how you're gonna pull this off. This story came very recently, December 20th, 2025. I'm planning to break up with my boyfriend and move out in about 3 weeks. I haven't told him yet because he has a temper, and has threatened to kick me out before without reason. My plan is to move out all my stuff and then tell him that I've left. Before you say anything about the age gap, oh boy. Yeah, I know, I feel stupid. Wait, what's the age gap? What's the age gap? Hold on. We gotta pull this up. We gotta go to Reddit itself because it's not showing on here. Okay, age gap. Female, 22, so she's 22 and he's 32. Okay, you know what? I was expecting worse, to be honest. There are a lot of reasons I'm leaving. His anger issues and calling me names like the B word or worse, lies, cheating, and gaslighting that give me constant anxiety. After almost 2 years of being together, I have finally found a place to move to. A whole upstairs suite with a backyard, 2 rooms, living room, bathroom, and kitchen, all to myself, and they allow dogs. The moment I sent the deposit, I felt instant relief. The tricky part is our dog, who is a doodle. Technically, he paid for the dog and I got to pick him up the day after my birthday. But I am the primary caregiver. I trained him, woke up every night when he cried as a puppy, and my boyfriend did nothing. I took him to classes, I groom him, provide all of his care, supplies, food, treats, walks. I work from home, and that was the reason that we got him in the first place. The dog is very attached to me, and I am attached to him. Unlike my boyfriend, who barely does anything to care for him other than filling his food and water. My boyfriend has threatened the dog before, once even saying he might take him to a shelter, and we would need to break up so that I can take him. And he has made other violent comments about hitting the dog. Take the dog and run. Take the dog and run for it, girlfriend. He works a lot and isn't home regularly. His parents, who used to take care of his old dog years ago, can't take full responsibility for the dog now as they have 2 new grandchildren that they take care of. I haven't asked him if I can take the dog or tell him that I'm moving out in 2 weeks because of the anger issues. He has threatened to kick me out before without any reason, and I'm afraid he might refuse, take the dog elsewhere, or react badly. Fair enough. I'm also worried about being unfair or taking the dog without asking and leaving without any notice or explanation. I'm thinking about either writing a text or leaving a note. Thoughts? Most people I've talked to say it would be a better option for the dog with more time, care, and safety. Any advice or similar experiences would be appreciated. That's so tricky. I understand giving notice, maybe it'll be better to communicate, but at the same time, you're making him sound very violent, and that makes this a whole lot trickier. And you need to do whatever is the safest option. Luckily, we have an update, which came 7 days later, December 27th. On December 23rd, I moved out of my boyfriend's house. Originally, I planned to leave without telling him, but he came home on his lunch break, visibly anxious, and said that I could leave if I wanted to. After a heated discussion, I told him I was done and I'm moving back to my parents. My family was coming that day. At first, he cried, said goodbye to my dog, gave me all the dog supplies, and asked for another chance, saying that he booked therapy for his anger. I agreed, only to keep things calm so that I could leave safely. Then he went back to work. He then came back angry, told me to get out immediately, said it was his house, and threatened to throw all of my stuff outside. When I cried and I explained this behavior was exactly why I was leaving, he insulted me and said, "This is what I get for dating a 20-year-old," and then left again. He returned once more, screaming and walking aggressively toward me. I ran to my office and I hit the emergency SOS on my phone. Not sure if it connected. After he left, I called my dad and I told him I needed to move out immediately. While I was packing, my boyfriend sent a friend over to, quote, make sure nothing was broken. I told him I was just taking my things. Later, my boyfriend came back before my dad arrived. When my dad was loading the car, my boyfriend tried to keep my dog. I took the dog to my car. My dad stepped in and things de-escalated. After repeatedly asking him to leave, he finally did after my dad asked him to. My mom arrived shortly after, and with both of my parents' help, I got all my belongings and my dog out safely. My dog and I are both safe, staying with my parents. I am free. I'm going to move into my new place in the first week of January. My boyfriend has set up a couples counseling appointment with our mutual therapist. I thought this was ex-boyfriend. Did we not tell him we were done? My boyfriend wants it to repair our relationship. I'm going for closure. My boyfriend knows I am going to live in a new place. I know I shouldn't see him, but I want to stall him from going to court over the dog. I am not getting back with him. I want closure and for him to be calm, at least until I get my dog microchipped. We have the vet scheduled for next week. I feel so free and calm. He can't hurt me anymore. Edit. I have emailed the therapist letting him know that I've moved out and to cancel the appointment. You are all right, girl. Thank God, because I was about to say I have an opinion on that. I do not need to see him to get closure. I do not want to put myself in a position where I feel unsafe again. I have removed him from all my socials. I'm just hoping he doesn't come to my family's home. They're all on vacation, so I'm here alone. I've locked all the doors. Now, there isn't another update, which is a little bit concerning, especially since I just went to their page and there is not another update. So, I'm assuming you're safe? I was about to say that though. You're finally free from this person. Why are you trying to see them again in any way, shape, or form? So I'm really glad, but I do hope that things remain calm and safe for you. Next story. My husband's first love contacted him wanting to apologize and reconnect. Should I be concerned? Well, does he actually respond to this? Because then you should be concerned if he's also wanting to reconnect. This story came June 10th, 2025. I, 27 female, have been with my husband, 27 male, for almost 8 years, married for 3. Let's call him Liam. I sounded so surprised in that, and that's just because when I hear people are like married for 3 years by the time they're 27, I'm like, just thinking about where I was at in those years. I'm 33 and I'm still not married. Prior to our relationship, Liam was with Danielle, 28 female. It's also a fake name. Liam and Danielle met in high school and they were extremely close friends before they decided to start dating. They dated from the end of their senior year of high school to the end of their freshman year of college. There were a lot of firsts with each other, including intimacy for the first time. According to Liam, Danielle was the first girl he was ever truly in love with. He did anything for her, including driving over 2.5 hours to and from his college to her college every weekend their freshman year. They went to schools in different states, and he did that so that they could spend time together. Things started to change for them during the later parts of their freshman year of college after Danielle got very heavily involved with a religious group on her campus. According to Liam, she got very manipulative and emotionally abusive. She had these new ideas in her head of who she was wanting to be and wanting to save him. He tried going to church with her and doing the things that she wanted him to do, but eventually it led to him becoming confused, upset, and ultimately resentful, which led to them ending things in a crash and burn type of way. Fast forward several months after they break up, Liam meets me. We start casually dating at first since he still had trauma and large amounts of trust issues that remained from his relationship with Danielle. After about 5-ish months, he felt like he was ready for something serious again. 3.5 years later, we're engaged. Another year goes by, we're married. Almost 3 years later, we are here today. Throughout all this time, Liam has not heard from Danielle once. Also during this time, Danielle has met someone new, gotten married as well, and currently has a young child. Flash to a week and a half ago. Liam and I just moved to a new house closer to our hometowns, and we posted about the move on social media. After seeing the post, Danielle decides to message Liam congratulating us on the new place and hoping that all is well. Nothing too crazy, but not something that he was expecting. They begin briefly conversing about house things, moving, renovations, etc. Liam tells me that she reached out to him, and I find this a bit odd, but nothing to worry about. A couple of days later, Liam sits me down to ask me something and says for me to not freak out. The second you tell someone, don't freak out, what do you think they do? They freak out. Same way you tell someone to relax when they're very much not relaxed. I, of course, begin freaking out. Apparently, Danielle had continued to message him after their brief conversation and eventually sent him a long post letting him know that there are still some things she wants to get out in the open and wants to deeply apologize for the way she treated him towards the end of the relationship and wants to do all of this in person with him. He asks me my opinion on this, and I'm definitely concerned as to why, after all this time, this is something she feels the need to do, and also why the need for this to be in person. After discussing this with a friend who had a similar thing happen to her, and afterwards the ex left them alone, I ultimately agreed, hoping that that same scenario would play out with us. Boy, was I wrong. All right, you guys. Just from here on, like this point in the story, if this happens, your husband, wife, whatever, their ex reaches out, says all of this, are you agreeing to let them go? What's your opinion? Liam and Danielle decide to meet at a coffee shop in a town about halfway between where we live and where she and her husband live. For Liam, it was about an hour drive. This meeting took place this past Saturday. At first, I asked to come with and just sit in the car while they talked, since I anticipated it being a short but awkward conversation where she could express what she needed to, and then he could leave and we could go do something else afterwards. Liam convinced me that I would end up being bored and he would feel bad leaving me. I'm sorry. This is just reminding me of a time. I have to show you guys the pictures. It's so ridiculous. Some of you probably heard this, but when I was like, I think I was 18 or 19, I started dating someone new after my high school relationship. I'm still friends with my high school ex, so if he sees this, oh well. Anyways, my ex from high school, once I started dating someone new, he's like, well, I want to talk to your new boyfriend. So stupid. So they met up at a Tim Hortons to have a conversation because apparently my ex-boyfriend had a lot to say. Little did he know, me and two of my best friends at the time, we went incognito. We put on wigs, we dressed up, and then my current boyfriend went in on a phone call with me and we muted the phone call so that we could just listen in to everything that was said. And he put his phone like under a napkin on the table, and we just got to hear the entire conversation. And we dressed up in case he saw us because he was friends with all of us. We dressed up in wigs and everything, and it was really funny. Yeah. Anyways, back to the actual story. Liam convinced me that I would end up being bored and he would feel bad leaving me alone for that time, so it was better for me to just stay back. He didn't think it would last very long, maybe an hour or so, and he would be home before I knew it. I ended up agreeing, and he left early in the morning so that he could meet her around 10. After letting me know once he got there and that he would keep me posted on when he would be heading back, I waited. After about an hour, I texted about how it was going, and he said it was fine and that he was just listening to what she had to say. Another hour goes by, and I start feeling a bit concerned, as I would have thought they would be done by now. Another hour goes by, and I am full of irritation. I text him saying it's been 3 hours, and I ask him when I should expect him back. He lets me know they're catching up and he would let me know. Another hour goes by. 4 hours in total, and I'm mad. What was supposed to be a short apology conversation was turning into a full day thing. Finally, he lets me know he's heading home after 4.5 hours of them talking. I needed answers. When he finally got home, I asked what happened. He lets me know that Danielle did apologize for the way she treated him during their relationship. After that, they began catching each other up on their lives, since it had been nearly 8 years since they have talked. It was a good casual conversation, and then she started breaking down crying. According to Liam, Danielle is at her wit's end in her marriage and is considering divorcing her husband. There it is. The real reason she reached out. She told Liam that her husband hasn't been the man she thought he would be and that they lost all passion in their marriage, that it got harder after she had their baby and she doesn't know what to do since she doesn't really like the idea of starting over and navigating as a single mom. Basically, she was confiding in him about all of the issues in her life and he sat and listened and talked with her. Liam said she really just needed someone to listen that wasn't involved in their circle. He feels bad for her and just wants to make sure she is okay. He then asked me how I would feel if they continued to be casual acquaintances. I told him I could maybe get to a point where I'd be comfortable with that, but I would need to think about it. He made it seem like that was the end of what they had discussed, and we continued the rest of the day as normal. At the end of the day, we get in bed and we are watching TV when I notice that he's getting quiet and distant. I asked what's wrong and he starts to tear up, saying that there was more he needed to tell me about him and Danielle's conversation. I immediately get worried. In tears, he tells me that Danielle expressed to him that she still has feelings for me. Even though it's been years and they've both moved on, she still has parts of her heart set for him. That her husband isn't half the man he is. In some ways, I wasn't shocked to hear that, especially since she wanted to meet him after all this time. However, what he said next did shock me. He told me that after talking with her, he realized, that he also still has some unresolved feelings for her. So just out of curiosity, since I'm not married, does marriage mean anything these days? Just wondering. I read a lot of stories that has me questioning what marriage really means. Is that just, you might as well just stay boyfriend and girlfriend? What is the difference? All this time, he thought she hated him after they broke up, when in reality, she was just struggling with her religious trauma in college and took things out on him when she shouldn't have. Everything was taken out of context. I didn't know what to think. He was so hurt and torn apart after they broke up, and it took me months to build his trust back and hope in the beginning to allow him to see himself capable of loving again. Now, all these years later, he still says that he has a part of his heart for her. In many ways, I understand because first loves will always hold a spot, but I'm also a bit hurt that my husband, the man I plan to spend the rest of my life with, still feels for his ex. After learning that she still has feelings for him, I told him I wasn't liking the idea of them still talking, that she could eventually start interpreting his kindness to her wrongly and see some sort of potential between them. That really she should be discussing her marital issues with her own husband and not him. He insists that she would never come between us and that Danielle herself even expressed that she respected the idea of marriage wholeheartedly. How? And the last thing she would want is to harm ours. So you going and confessing your feelings for him, you don't find that harmful? Do you find that a positive thing for my marriage? He wants to be there for her because it seems like she doesn't really have anyone else to talk to about all of this. Last night, he was showing me TikToks on his phone when a text notification from Danielle popped up. I questioned him about it and he shrugged it off as nothing. Today, I asked if she was still texting him and he said she was, but he was trying to slowly cut her off. I expressed again how I don't think it's best for him to be talking to her and how she really should be going to a friend or family member to talk about her issues. I noticed he was still texting her throughout the evening tonight too. Should I be concerned about all of this? Yes, because your husband also said he has those feelings. Yes, a million times yes. I don't want to come across as a wife who controls who her husband can or cannot talk to. I do trust my husband, but I don't really know Danielle. He insists that she is true to her word and would never try anything, but how can I know for sure? My best friends think I should tell him to block her. I don't think he will because he feels bad for her, but I don't want her to continue to reach out to him for validation, and that eventually leads to her feelings towards him growing more. What should I do? Please help. Well, I think you're just putting too much on Danielle here, to be honest, because your husband has said he also feels the same way. He also wants to keep contacting her, and his actions prove that. Hold your husband accountable. You're right. You don't know her. Okay? Bye-bye. You know him. Let's hold him accountable. Am I just angry? Maybe I'm just bitter. We have an update, thank God, because I'm getting a little too invested in this emotionally. We're gonna hop on hydration station. Let me know what's in your cup, but drink your water. Cheers. The next update was the next day. Liam has been at work all day, so I wasn't able to talk to him much until he got home. I sat him down again and I let him know that I needed to talk to him about his communication with Danielle. I told him I wasn't happy and that I needed to know if he was still talking to her today. He told me he was, but that he was finally ready to end things with her. For those of you, if not all of you, that suggested Danielle reached out to him because she wanted him for herself, you were correct. Duh. Did you really need to be told that? Liam called her today and she straight up asked him how happy he was with me and that if for even a second there were issues and wanted out, that they could run away together. She wants to divorce her husband and be with him. I believe this admittance finally broke Liam's rose-colored glasses on the situation and opened him up to seeing what she was really doing, trying to manipulate her way back to him and home wreck our marriage. He finally told her enough is enough and that he cannot talk to her anymore, that he did feel sorry for everything going on with her and her own marriage, but for the sake of his own marriage and his love for me, that he needs to stop being in touch with her. He realized that those unresolved feelings that he started to have for her after meeting with her this past Saturday were more like feelings of nostalgia for the times that they spent together and the times that they were happy. The ways that she spoke about him and his character made him feel good and it gave him that ego boost. But after hearing her true intentions, he was able to remember the way she was before and why they broke up in the first place. I told him I wanted him to block her. I wanted no contact at all with her, and he agreed. So he deleted all their messages, blocked her number, and blocked all her social media right in front of me. There will be no communication between them going forward. I'm not satisfied with that. I mean, your marriage. I'm not in that marriage. But that just, that doesn't feel right. Listen, the thing that's getting me the most, this man was in tears in bed with you telling you, I still have unresolved feelings for her. I have a piece of my heart for her. What? I don't know. That don't sit right with me. Let me know what you guys think. I could just be bitter and dramatic. So let me know. Humble me or agree with me.
You guys, is this not the funniest thing you have ever seen? Our Miss Lila girl as the princess, queen, whatever she is, pure royalty. Matt's sister, obviously this is like AI or something. His sister got this for me for Christmas. I think it's so funny and so cute. It like sums up Lila. This is her. This is she. She is her. Her is she.
Next story. My boyfriend got trashed at a wedding where I was the maid of honor, embarrassed me, and himself proceeded to lie about some things too. I'm so excited, selfishly. This story came February 24th, 2020. About a year and a half ago, my best friend became engaged to her now husband. I was asked to be the maid of honor and I was extremely happy to do so. Over the past year, I helped her with whatever needed to be done. Throughout all of this, I talked to my boyfriend about it. He knew how happy I was for her. He knew that I was a big part of the wedding. He knew my parents would be attending the wedding. Oh, he knew everything that I knew about the wedding. He knew the day and time and what would be expected of him and when we needed to show up. FWIW. Oh, for what it's worth. Oh my God, wow. I'm proud of myself for that. Not very bright with words, so for what it's worth, I didn't talk his ear off about the wedding. I would only really talk about it if I had gone, for example, dress shopping or something with my friend. However, last week, a couple days before the wedding, he started to act kind of weird about it. He said something along the lines of, I know you don't want to be involved in the wedding, it will be over soon, and then you can forget all about it and everything will be normal again. I've been nothing but happy and excited for my friend and this wedding, but he continued to act like I wasn't having fun and tried to convince me that I hated every minute of helping my friend plan her wedding. Last week, he continued talking about the wedding like it was something awful and stupid. He treated it as an annoying chore that we had to do, and he complained about having to go. He even asked about after the rehearsal dinner if he could just not go to the wedding at all. Keep in mind, I had already RSVP'd for the both of us. My parents were expecting him. He just dropped that on me as we were going to bed before the wedding day. Well, why don't you ask him? What's the issue? Why don't you want to go? He also never expressed his congratulations towards the bride or groom at any point. The day of the wedding was this past Saturday. I told my boyfriend what time he needed to show up. Lately, he has been notoriously late for everything, like several hours late to anything he's invited to. He's always been late, but it's just getting ridiculous. A lot of times he's late because he's hanging out with one of his friends, smoking MJ, and playing video games, and he ends up losing track of time. I didn't want him to be late to my best friend's wedding, so I basically told him he needed to be there 3 hours earlier than what was necessary. I told him he needed to be there at 1 p.m., when in reality, he needed to be there before 4:30 p.m. He showed up around 4:30 p.m. So to him, because he doesn't know, he was 3 hours-ish late. Three and a half. Oh well. He got there right as cocktail hour started and got drunk. I was told by someone else that he was pounding back the beers as soon as the bartender started to serve alcohol. Then he sat with my parents and told my mom, if I didn't come to this thing, OP, which is the person telling the story, would have me. Once the bride and groom were announced, Mr. and Miss X, my boyfriend loudly cheered and loudly clapped as everyone did a normal clap. It wasn't a very big wedding, so it was weird and awkward when he did this. It stood out a lot and it was obvious that he was already inebriated. Multiple people looked over at him in a what the F kind of way. I felt awful and embarrassed when this happened. After all the photos were taken, he found me and told me that his work called and that he needed to go ASAP. Sir, you're wasted. You're wasted. Who is going to... Huh? Before the wedding, he assured me that he had taken the day off and that his work, he's a bartender, knew he would be at the wedding day. Yeah. A lot of people, I used to be a bartender. I could never drink on the job. Ever. Couldn't be me. I can't. There's no way I could function properly, especially with math and numbers and the till and the money. No. But some people would be absolutely hammered while bartending, even though you're not supposed to. I knew he was lying to me, but I didn't care at that point. He left, Ubered, to supposedly go to work. When I finally got home around 2 a.m., he told me it turned out that work didn't actually need him and he forgot the name of the venue, so he couldn't Uber back, and that his phone was acting weird and he couldn't get a text message sent to me. He told me how he really wanted to come back to the reception, but he just couldn't make it happen. Obviously, these were all lies. I felt like his behavior was just obnoxious. I'm so pissed off at him right now. I'm looking at him in a new negative light and I can't stop thinking about how awful he was throughout this whole wedding event. I know some people act weird about weddings sometimes, but this takes the effing cake. Is there any coming back from this? I feel like I'm always going to be pissed off about what happened. I don't know if I can forgive him. I've thought about ending it with him because of this. I don't know if I'm overreacting or not. I don't think he has any intention of apologizing. We haven't talked about the wedding that much since this past Saturday. He doesn't think he did anything wrong. What should I do? Am I crazy to think his actions are god awful? We have an update, thankfully, and it was 9 days later. We're at March 6th. There were some frequent comments about my ex I wanted to clear up. Some people thought he had anxiety around weddings or people he didn't know. He knew the bride and groom very well, as we used to go out on double dates a lot. He's even spent some one-on-one time with the groom. He knew a lot of people at the wedding. He only sat with my parents because my parents didn't really know anyone else besides the bride and a couple of my other friends. He is a social butterfly and has been to more weddings than I have. He's even gone solo to a couple of weddings he was invited to because he got no +1s for former coworkers while we have been together. Many people suggested he had a crush on the bride. I can't confirm this, but I'm leaning towards no. It's possible, of course, but it doesn't matter at this point. All I can really say is they are complete opposites. They have very little in common, and he would consider her not his type. And I am considered his type. Again, he may have had feelings for her, but if he did, I never picked up on it. After I initially tried to end it with him, oh, so you did. He texted, called, DM'd me, and basically used any means of communication possible to get my attention. He started by apologizing profusely and asking me to give him another chance. I didn't respond to all of this because I didn't know what to say. I turned off my phone before I went to sleep and I woke up with a ton of voicemail and messages. He sounded extremely angry in some of them, called me names, told me he hated me, said the classic line of "you'll never do better than me." Some of the last messages he sent were him apologizing for the messages he left throughout the night because he was drunk. and that it didn't count. Whatever. I think maybe he has a drinking problem. The apartment issue has been a nightmare. It's going to be extremely expensive to get out of the lease and only have his name in it. Apparently, they need both of our signatures in order for this to happen, and I will need to pay a fee. The only communication I've had with my ex is to ask him to sign the new leasing agreement, which he refuses to do. I still had to pay rent for March. The lease isn't up for several more months. I can't afford to pay 2 rents at once. I did manage to get my stuff out. I called up the bar that he works for and talked to one of the women there that I felt comfortable with. I told her my situation and I asked if she could call me the next time he showed up for his shift so I could get my things. I had a bunch of my friends come to the apartment with boxes and plastic tubs, and I got most of my stuff out. Unfortunately, my TV, it's huge, sofa, and a couple of other larger items could not be grabbed, but I got everything important. When he found out I took all of my stuff, the text messages and voicemails began again, where he spewed more awful things at me and demanded that I come home immediately. Then he started sending me apology messages and also told me in a message that he is willing to forgive me and move on from this mess. Okay, so he must be drunk still. My current challenges are trying to find a place to live for the next few months and what to do about the current lease with both of our names on it. I have friends that understand my situation and they are allowing me to couch surf for a bit, but it's not a permanent situation. I'm still trying to figure out how to get out of this lease, but the apartment management has been difficult. I'm not totally convinced that they need both signatures, but that's what they keep stressing. The worst case scenario is that I have to quit my job and live with my parents for a bit. They are about an hour away, and drive an hour to class a few times a week until the semester is over. At least it's a backup plan, you know? Not that commuting is any fun, but like, it's an option. Better than living with this cuckoo bonkers, angry alcoholic. There's alcohol issues, I believe, and anger issues, and mixing those together, not a good time. Not a good time. Let me know all your thoughts and feelings on these stories. I'll see you in the comment section. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. Bye.